Hi everyone, I'm Courtney. Today I'm going to talk about my education. What was the process of going to school like for me? Well, I went to school in a lot of different places. My dad was in the military, so I went to different schools. The first school that I attended was a school in Missouri. Missouri is a state in the central part of the US. I attended preschool. Preschool is an optional type of school for very young kids. I went to preschool between the ages of 3 and 4. Parents can choose if they want to send their kids to preschool. For me, I went to preschool for only a few hours a day. I think preschool started around 8 a.m. and went till around 11 a.m. Only 3 hours. I went to preschool when I was 3 and 4. My mom enrolled me in preschool because she wanted me to meet other kids that were my age. She wanted me to be able to make friends. So I made friends at preschool. At preschool, we did some things like color with crayons. We played outside. And I also remember learning to write my alphabet. I remember that in preschool, I wrote the letter I with a big dot at the top. Here is the stick part of the I, and here is how I wrote the letter I with a big dot attached to the stick part. I remember my preschool teacher said, the dot on the I needs to be separate. Separate. I was mad. I didn't want the I to have a separated dot. I had fun in preschool. The next school that I went to was in Southern California. This was an elementary school. Elementary schools typically have kindergarten for ages 5 and 6, and then first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and sometimes sixth grade. It depends. Every grade is a new year. So typically, kids go to first grade when they're 6, second grade when they're 7, and so on. I attended elementary school, also known as grade school, in California from kindergarten through third grade. This was the school that I went to. I remember really liking my teachers at this school. I also remember playing outside on the playground with my best friend. One time we dug in the sand at the playground. We buried a rock in the sand. The next day we went to dig up our treasure, but we couldn't find the rock. I think it's funny the way kids invent things when they're young. The next school I attended was a elementary school in Hawaii. I attended an elementary school in Hawaii in 4th grade. In 4th grade, I went to a school called Pearl City Elementary School in Hawaii. But I was only there 1 year because my family had to move to a new house. I remember that the mascot for Pearl City Elementary School was a Pegasus. A Pegasus is half horse, half unicorn. A very interesting mascot. At the school in Pearl City, I had to wear a uniform, but it wasn't the type of uniform that you see in the movies. My uniform was a purple or a gray t-shirt. We could wear whatever pants as long as they didn't have a lot of holes or they weren't too short. I liked my elementary school in Pearl City, Hawaii, but my family moved, and then from 5th grade to 6th grade, I went to a different elementary school. This elementary school was on a military base. The elementary school was called Hickam Elementary School. I attended Hickam Elementary School in 5th and 6th grade. I remember that I loved to play Double Dutch. Double Dutch is a game where you use a jump rope, you use 2 jump ropes, and you turn the ropes. There's a person on each side helping to turn the ropes, and another person jumps in the middle. That is what I remember most about 5th and 6th grade. I also remember that I was part of the track team. I ran the 400 meter, which was 1 lap around the entire track. It seemed like a long distance, but I think I did well. I can't remember. The next school that I went to was when my family moved to Montana. I went to school in Montana from when I was 12, when I was in 7th grade, through 8th grade. I was at the same school. It was called the middle school. 7th and 8th grade is called middle school. At some schools, middle school is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. But at my school, middle school was 7th and 8th grade. I attended the middle school in Montana. Lots of things happened in middle school. I'll save them for another video. When I was in 9th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade, I attended the same school, but this part of my education was called high school. Okay, let's recap. First, preschool. Second, kindergarten. Third, elementary school or grade school. Fourth, middle school. And 5th, high school. This is generally the system that most US schools follow. After high school, I attended college. Here, we call the university college. Sometimes we say university, and we know what the word university means. Here, you'll hear people say college. I went to college in Montana. I went to college in Montana for graphic design and marketing. I hope that you enjoyed learning a little bit about my educational background. I would love to know in the comments, what was school like for you? Write it below. I'm Courtney. Thanks for listening. If you want to watch another video to help you improve your English, you can watch this one next. Bye!